Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Beast On. I know it's been a minute. Time to make another video, right? Today's video is going to be a little bit different. But before we get to that, let's, of course, go through the spiel. If you want to support independent media that's not being powered by the man, no, not the radio station, just the man in general, you have to do a couple of things. One, subscribe to this channel. If you're just finding this video and you want more great content, mostly it's sports. Sometimes we do other things, news, politics, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. If you want good content, just hit subscribe. That's all you need to do. Then hit the little bell, and it'll tell you when I make a new video. Yeah, that's right. And then, of course, you can always follow me on social media at Miami Radio Beast. And some of you are like, why are you keeping radio in the name? And it's like, because if you switch your name on the Twitter, then they take away your little blue check mark. And we need that. We need the blue check mark. It makes us feel good. It's a confidence booster. And the other thing you can do, of course, if you're really into this and you want to support me and my endeavors and make sure the family is fed and the electric stays on, you can go to my Patreon page and help support me there. I'll put the link in the description. But today's video is a little bit different because today is not a video that's a hot take on a topic. Today is a video, and it's the holiday season where I'm going to ask you to do something, and that's this. And some of you will find this a little bit weird. So my former employer, Entercom, their country station, 99.9 Kiss Country, which is a great station. I don't even really like country music, but the times that I was in the office and it was on, and I'm like, okay, I can get down with this. They do something great today. That's today. If you're watching this, today is December 5th, and tomorrow December 6th. But you can do this any time of year, right? Is they have a radiothon called Kiss Cares, and why is this important to me? It's because it benefits Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital, which is the big children's hospital. Level 1 trauma center, children's hospital. They got all the specialties here in Broward County in South Florida. And the reason why JDCH is really important to me and my family is this. And here's the story. And this is why this is very important to me, and why if you have anything extra to give this holiday season, this charity, Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital, is a great place to do that for, and why the Kiss Cares Radiothon is important to me, even though I no longer work there. How about that, huh? What kind of guy am I? And here's the deal. My wife woke up one morning about a month before we were supposed to have a baby, and there were some things going on inside her body that didn't feel right. So we said, okay, let's roll over to the doctor, right? Roll over to the doctor. Doctor's office is closed that early in the morning. So we said, all right, we'll just, you know what? Out of caution, we'll just roll over to the emergency room. Get to the emergency room, they're like, listen, it's a pregnancy-related situation, go up to labor and delivery. All right, now it's starting to freak out a little bit. We get up there, and luckily enough, her doctor is in the building, and he comes right over. And right now, and he says the thing that, you're really never ready for as expected parents is, it's go time now. And this is on December 12th, right? And he's not supposed to be born until late January. Like January 30th was the due date. And then we go, and it's just a rush, right? You're being rushed in. She's getting the epidural. I'm being gowned up. I'm calling everybody. We're about to have a baby. And, okay, like I was a preemie, 6 weeks. I made up for it, right? Yeah, okay. But when I was a preemie, I was born at just under 5 pounds. And, like, by the time I left the hospital, I'm good to go, blah, blah, blah. Zach was born emergency C-section. Zach's my son. He's about to be 12 now. He was born at 2 pounds, 13 ounces. Tiny dude. Looked like a frog, to be honest with you. I keep telling him that. He doesn't really like it, but it's true. He looked like a frog. Handsome now, though, but at the time, he looked like a frog. And so here we are as new parents. a wife emergency C-section in her hospital room, new baby in an incubator, tied up to every hose and tube and lead possible, because he's 2 pounds and 13 ounces in an incubator. He's got jaundice. They're looking at all sorts of things. Over the next few days, there might be a problem with his eyes. We had an eye doctor come in and warn us of some stuff. Then they started suspecting maybe a brain bleed, and they had to wheel him in an incubator down to the MRI and do an MRI, and they found a bleed in his brain. And what do you do with that, with a 2-pound baby? And it's freak out time. Now, obviously, there were kids in there that were much sicker than Zach. We had one or two that had to be airlifted for more even emergent, ridiculous trauma like heart surgery type care that they couldn't even do over at the hospital we were at. But Zach did okay, made it. He was in the NICU for 26 days, brought him home, and he is good to go now. But in the meantime, you're saying, okay, those stories have happened before, and you preemies and incubators and NICUs. So the staff of Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital and Memorial West is the same system, and the pediatric doctors are the intensivists, all that stuff. They helped him once, right, when he was born at 2 pounds 13 ounces, and you're like, good. We went. Our one crisis of Zach's life happened way before he'll remember anything. It's the first days of his life. We're through that. It's gonna be clear sailing. A year later, just days after his first birthday. And you love the first birthday party, right? They're shoving cake in their face. They don't even know what to do with it. It's a great time. A few days after his first birthday, baby Zach comes down with what we think is just kind of a cold. He's sluggish. He's got snot. I mean, every baby has snot. There's just snot. Every baby's just got snot. Blah. A little more snot. And so we're like, okay, whatever. We're not going to overdo it. We're not going to be those parents that are, taking your kid to the ER every time there's snot, because babies have snot. But this seemed a little bit different. And I remember Allie, my wife, she would wake up before me to get ready to go off to school to be a teacher. And then I would kind of be with the baby while she was getting ready. And then it was lucky my mom and dad were down because it was just his birthday. It's just his first birthday, so they were still in town. And Allie was coming out of the bathroom. I had the baby in the bedroom, and he wasn't whatever. And this is a bittersweet moment because at the time he hadn't really said his first real words yet. But Allie comes out of the bathroom and he screamed "mommy," but it wasn't like a happy mommy, or I'm glad. It was like a out of "I need you, mommy" kind of scream, and it was offsetting, and it really had me worried. But like, again, you're first time parents, and you're like, just try not to overreact. So I go off to work. Allie goes off to work. My parents have the baby. Allie comes home from work. She worked literally, 100 yards across from where we lived. She comes home from work. She used to come home earlier. She had a different schedule then, and she came home, and Zach's not like doing okay. Like, you could tell it's more than just snot. There's wheezing. You could tell he's not doing well. So they fly him over to the doctor's office. They call me. Hey, we're at the doctor's office. And then I get another phone call. The doctor says Zach is in trouble. He needs to be in the ER right now. And that is not the call you ever want to get. I said, well, you call 911, call an ambulance? No. The doctor's office is literally right next to the hospital. We're just going to take him over, and we'll get him seen. So I literally dropped everything. I told my boss, hey, I'm out. I got to go. Something's wrong with my son. He's not breathing well. And I fly home. I grab my dad, get to the hospital. I walk into the hospital, right? You got to show your license, and they give you a security thing. And it was to the point where I went up to the window and I'm like, yes, I'm here for a baby that's, being seen. And they're like, your last name? I'm like, London. They're like, Mr. London? I'm like, yes. They're like, come with us. And they literally whisked me off, and it became a scene out of ER or New Amsterdam or any medical drama you've ever seen. Here I am literally in Trauma Bay 1 as my wife's crying. She's in hysterics. My mom is in hysterics crying. And I come around the corner, and there's my son on a table with every known contraption known to man, a team of 6 people around him. There's a doctor yelling commands. I have no idea what's happening. Evidently, as I'm being caught up, he's in respiratory failure. His lungs stop working. He can't breathe. If you can't breathe, you can't live. And the beep, beep, and you never want to hear beep. Like, that's the bad, you don't want to get there. Well, we were heading towards beep, and luckily, the doctor at the time was very calm and decided, listen, it's time to intubate this little 1-year-old, which they don't really like to do. They intubated him, which means they put a tube down into his lungs to feed him oxygen, because them just putting a mask on him or puffing oxygen was not doing anything because his lungs were failing. And now he's on a breathing machine. He's on a respirator, and that's breathing for him, which is basically keeping him alive. If they take him off that at the time, he dies. And so here we go. Now they're calling for the special unit that Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital has, which is basically a trauma room on wheels. And you've probably seen it roaming around Broward County. It looks like an ambulance with Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital inside. But what that really is basically a trauma unit on wheels. And they come with a full staff, a respiratory therapist, trauma nurse, a whole team comes with that vehicle. And Allie gets to go with Zach. Because he was at it's still Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital's ER, but it was at the Memorial West Hospital. Now he needs to go to Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital in Hollywood because this is go time. So they take him in that trauma unit on wheels over to JDCH. I fly over there with my dad. We get up there, and now he's in the pediatric intensive care unit, aka the PICU. And this is the scariest of places for a parent to be. This is a place where if your kid is in the PICU, you're something bad has happened, or is happening, or could happen. It's really scary. There was near end of life cancer patients. There was little babies having heart surgery. It was just the worst of the worst as a parent. And Zach was basically looked over by an entire team of amazing doctors and kept in a medically induced coma for a few days because they didn't want him ripping out his tube or whatever. So, and they couldn't figure out what caused his respiratory failure. They thought it might be RSV. Those of you that are new parents will know what RSV is. You get vaccinated for that. They didn't think it was RSV. They didn't know what it was. Some sort of virus. Nothing they could really cure with an antibiotic. And for a few days, we didn't know. I mean, what do? You've got some virus that has your kid's lungs shut down, and they can't really tell you exactly which virus it is or how to really treat that, other than the symptoms of that, and they can't get his lungs going again. And you're like, this, could be it. Our son has lived a year and a plus, and that could be it. But this team at Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital in the PICU it was unbelievable what they were able to do. Just the most brilliant doctors I've ever, so I'm a hypo, and there's nothing that, as a hypo, floats my boat more than having a discussion with a brilliant genius doctor. And when I pick all of my 110 specialists, I tend to look for the geniuses. And those of you that are my doctor specialists know you're a genius, and that's why I see you. But these doctors are geniuses, and they're going through everything and whatever. And even though your son or your kid or my kid at this time is in this perilous position of not being able to breathe on his own, and this virus is attacking him, and no one can figure out what it is and tell us why, they're keeping him alive. They're keeping him alive, and they're trying to figure it out. So, needless to say, it's a blur of that entire time in the PICU. It was a week or plus that he was in the PICU, and finally, 3 or 4 days in, maybe 5 days in, his fever's come down, some of his viral symptoms have come down, and like, he has to try to breathe on his own, because this is not healthy to be on a respirator, to be on a tube, intubated for this long. So we're going to try to pull it out and see what happens. And I'm like, what do you mean see what happens? Well, there's a chance that when we pull this out, he won't be able to breathe, and we're going to have to take emergency actions to get him to keep breathing. So they call in, like, again, the team, right? Like, the team is in there, ready to go if he can't breathe when they pull this tube out. And the doctors, again, shouting instructions, but calm, very calm. They take the tube out, and you're just like, is he breathing? And he's on oxygen and with albuterol and all sorts of medicines. And yes, he's breathing. Okay, it's wheezy. It's not great, but he's breathing on his own. All right, fine. We got through that. So awesome. A few days later, we go home. Zach seems to be getting better. Everything is great. And then it happens again. He's not looking good. And this time as parents, we say, all right, taking no chances. We go right back to the doctor. Matter of fact, it was actually like, it just so happened he had a follow-up appointment that day. We go to the doctor. Thank you, Dr. Mitch Samuels. You're the freaking best. We love you forever, Dr. Mitch Samuels. And Dr. Samuels says, he's got to go back to the hospital right now, right? Because you and I both know that what you've got going on here is not good. And again, right back to Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital, right back into the PICU, and trying to get Zach to breathe again. Well, to make a long story short, I've already gone on so long. Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital and the doctors there and the nurses and everybody saved my son's life twice. Once when he was born, and once when he had respiratory failure when he was 1. Twice his life was saved. And I don't know if you believe in miracles or not. I don't know how religious you are. But to me, that is just a miracle beyond miracles. I know that those miracles could not have happened without the doctors at Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. I know that Zach would not be standing here right now as a 12-year-old. As a matter of fact, he's up in Disney right now. He wouldn't be riding the rides at Disney right now with his school's gifted program. He's a nerd. He knows I said that anyways. He may not be my kid. Anyways, he wouldn't be standing here right now without the doctors from Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. I know there's a lot of parents out there that have even more trying stories. Zach Krantz from the Joe Rose Morning Show on QAM. Their kid, Maddie, was born way early, and he went through a lot over at Joe DiMaggio, and I know of other parents whose kids have had, cancer early on or, needed transplants, all sorts of other more, believe it or not, more serious things than what Zach went through. But I know for a fact that my son would not be here without the doctors and nurses, the entire staff, the entire support unit of Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. So, to end this video, I just want to say, listen, I'm going to put the link to Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital donation page in the description of this video. I want to just thank John O'Connell and TC and everybody at Kiss Country, the radio station. They do this Radiothon every year, and it's really important to me that they raise money for Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. And to all of you parents out there that have been through similar things, you understand what I'm talking about. And parents everywhere will understand what it would be like to go through the situations that we went through and other parents go through. So if you can, today, tomorrow, whenever, make a donation to Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. They really are saving lives, and I've seen it in person. All right, that'll do it for today's video. Maybe tomorrow's video will be a little more upbeat and sports or something. Who knows? If you want to tune in, again, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, you'll get notified when there's a new video. Also, follow me on social media at Miami Radio Beast. Oh, and by subscribing to the channel, it's free, by the way. You don't have to pay to subscribe. You just have to sign in and hit like or hit subscribe. There's no cost in that. Also, support independent media and what I'm doing through Patreon. I'll put the link again in the description. And until then, I'll see you when I see you. Peace.